I'm going to try and avoid mentioning Martin Heal, who's the former National Front member who ran Nigel Farage's campaign in South Thanet when he was standing for UKIP in 2015. And I believe he's still a council member in Kent, in I think the same constituency that Nigel Farage has now been elected to represent as an MP. So, uh, as we gather round to reflect on the grand spectacle of Reform UK's first parliamentary conference in Brighton, this circus so spectacular that it might just be mistaken for a Trump rally if it weren't for the suspiciously English drizzle dampening down the baseball caps that have been emblazoned with Reform UK logos. Picture this: Nigel Farage making his entrance in a sea of red baseball caps, almost expecting a "Make Britain Great Again" chant to break out. It's like a political panto, with Farage as the indomitable dame strutting on stage with her knickers showing in the confidence of a man who's just been spotted who's just been spotted in a clinch with an EU flag that he wants to burn. Oh, let's burn a flag. Oh, let's not get our knickers in a twist. We're going to burn an EU flag. Well, no, because Farage doesn't want to burn any flags. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to upset anybody. He wants the bonkers gone. The scene is set for Reform UK's self-styled coming of age. This is a party that wants to shed its amateurish past and become a serious contender. Serious! Woo! Which is a bit like a high school garage band announcing that they're ready to headline at Glastonbury. Let's get in the pyramid tent. Oh! The pyramid stage. Not really a tent, is it? And no, I'm sorry for the moment where Matt Hancock appeared. Matt Hancock has nothing, of course, to do with Farage and Reform UK. Farage is clear on one thing: no more room for extremists. But I do wonder what's going to happen to Martin Heal. So it's an interesting proclamation from a party whose guest list includes more ex-right-wingers than a 1990s Brit pop reunion tour. One has to wonder, what exactly does it mean to vet candidates rigorously in a party where Martin Heal, a former National Front member — I keep mentioning Martin Heal, I said I wasn't going to — was once a campaign manager. Perhaps a questionnaire: do you hate more than 3 ethnic groups? Too many yeses and you're out. It's a simple question. And what about those long-term supporters, the ones who've been through the Brexit Party rebrand, then back to UKIP and now Reform UK, like political gymnasts who want to get under the bar rather than over it, who can't seem to stick the landing? Martin Heal, for instance, oh gosh, here it comes up again, insists that he's not racist, just like I insist my Uber rating was all a big misunderstanding. But what to do with this lot? Farage has to juggle the task of looking respectable while still appealing to a base that thinks Attila the Hun was a bit of a centrist. Can they be reformed, or do they just quietly migrate back to the dark corners of Facebook where they can discuss the intricacies of Brexit in peace? Or in pieces? And speaking of reforms, Farage now wants to model his party on the Lib Dems, the same Lib Dems who perfected the art of winning 72 seats with an electoral footprint of a vole, 72 seats after nearly 100 years. It's a bit like saying we need to be more like that chicken that crossed the road. I'm not sure why, but look, it got to the other side eventually. Or at least one of them did. The whole chain of chickens. You can't argue with strategy. It takes a few focus leaflets to make Reform UK a serious party. Who are we to mock? At least they're trying, and that's more than you could say for certain parties currently imploding at a faster rate than a Tory conference in Manchester. But will this newfound professionalism, this love for democracy, exclude the bigots? That's the £1,000,000 question. Farage might talk about professionalising and democratising, but one has to wonder if his idea of democracy extends beyond making sure no one in the room has a tattoo of Enoch Powell on his rear. We know Farage doesn't because he likes to bare his bottom in public. It's a fine line to walk. Embrace enough populism to stay relevant, but not so much that you're mistaken for a football hooligan in a suit, or likely to riot in Southport or Rotherham. So where does reform go from here? According to Farage, the sky's the limit. Well, we've also heard that Farage interprets that as Scotland. And why not? After all, when your ambitions are as boundless as Farage's ego, you're never really constrained by things like electoral maths or common sense. Or even the name of your party. If it all goes wrong, he can rebrand. Is this the beginning of a new era for Reform UK, or just another chapter in the long, winding saga of Nigel Farage's desperation to get into Westminster? Well, he's there. But he's now said that he doesn't, that it's not safe. He's told people that it's not safe for him to hold surgeries. He fears being knifed. And yet we've not heard anything from Parliament saying that it's not safe, that he's been advised by Parliament not to hold surgeries. Isn't this just some sort of dog ate my dinner to avoid doing any real work? The man who would be king of somewhere, anywhere, just please not the EU. For now, Reform UK is in that awkward teenage phase, trying to decide whether it's more conservative than the Tories or just the next episode of Farage's never-ending reality TV show, a sort of unexpected emanation, a fit of flatulence. Either way, it's bound to be entertaining, if not entirely coherent. With Farage at the helm, anything could happen, and usually does, even if it's just wind. Though in my experience, that's generally Theresa May.